between Sunday school and morning worship, about 20, 25 minutes, I had text our deacon, Rare, so I'll be about 10:30 when I get on the freeway. I'm like, I might miss that. I thank God I was pretty close to that today. We studied the life of David. We studied the life of David, especially in his build of worship. But today I want to look at something unique about David. We always reference David for his fighting, his warrior. He was a warrior, great fighter, and a great warrior. We always remind David for his ability to play music. That's how I get to the palace, really, to playing for Saul. And then we always remember him killing the giants, killing Goliath. And actually, we don't really know. There was 4 brothers he was involved in during his time period. All 4 of them was killed. Whether he killed another one or not, he was fighting one. Shemaiah, his brother, finished out before him. But it was 4 giants. He was known for that. But there's one thing about David that in this passage I don't want to overlook. There's something called the Davidic covenant. A Davidic covenant. And this is going to be very important theologically. They call it the Davidic covenant. What that is God makes a covenant with David. And God was big on covenants in the Old Testament. He made a covenant with Moses, with Abraham first. He made a covenant with Abraham that he's going to be the father of the nation, right? He made a covenant with Joshua. The second covenant he made with Joshua when they're going to the land, that they're going to have this land, always be their land. They made a covenant with David. It's called the Davidic covenant because this is the covenant that he makes with David that tells us about Jesus, the Messiah. All right? So it starts reading here. We'll start in verse 8 of 2 Samuel chapter 7, beginning with verse 8. 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 8. And we're going to learn quickly something about God. And as we look at David, we're going to look how God deals with people. And I think it's going to help us because it's going to help us understand more about the grace of God. Because grace is unmerited. It's something doing for somebody that they don't ask for, that God determines to do. When we pray at night, the Lord wakes us up in the morning to see a new day. But that's something God just does. If you didn't pray for that night, His grace will do that because of who He is. 2 Samuel chapter 7 verse 8 says, "Now therefore so shalt thou say unto my servant David, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, from following the sheep, to be ruler over my people Israel." Listen, when God is involved in our lives, we might think it's a small thing, but God knows every aspect of our lives. Brother Joe come out of the West East Coast. He know all about Brother Joe and every incident. He's aware of that. Now sometimes we think, oh, that happened, I'm over that. But God tells David right here, he says, this is what he says. "Now therefore, so shalt thou say unto my servant David," he telling Nathan, he said to Nathan the prophet, "Thus said the Lord, I took thee from the sheepcote." He remembered when he was out there handling the sheep. Okay? "From following the sheep to be ruler over my people Israel." I remember that. I remember where you was at when I came to begin to maneuver in your life. He said, "And I was with thee whatsoever thou winnest." Okay, what do you mean by everywhere I went? Remember David had to kill the bear? The bear got the sheep. And David killed the bear. Lion got a sheep. He killed the lion. And he was like 16, 17 years old when he was killing bears and lions with a staff. He said, "And I have made thy name great, like unto the name of the great men that are on earth. Moreover, This is God. I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and will plant them that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more as before time. Okay, Israel, the nation of Israel, you know what happened? They was Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were three forefathers. They ended up in Egypt. Jacob goes down there to buy grain. Joseph is already in Egypt. They go down there to buy grain. They find out Joseph is alive. And so Joseph said to his dad, Jacob, move down here, okay? I'll take care of you. So they moved down to Egypt. They wasn't dragged down to Egypt. They moved down there freely, famine in the land. 70 members, all his sons and brothers, and all the whole group moved to Egypt. But the Pharaoh, Ramesses, the Pharaoh that was in charge, that knew Joseph, he died. Okay? And so the new Pharaoh comes up and says, all these people here, they was in the land of Goshen by themselves, put them in the land by themselves. All those people over there not doing anything, let's work those people. And so they began to work them. And so that's what the history of 400 years of them working. They moved down there because of Joseph, moved down here. But 400 years they was working down there in Egypt, making bread and doing, that's what they showed on TV. They were doing more than that. Taking care of the cattle. Egyptians thought cattle was cattle herding was beneath them. So they had the Israelites herding the cattle. And so, but then God, after 400 years, God brings them back, right? You know the story. Moses goes down, he sees Moses down there, bring my people back, and here they come across the desert. Okay? And then God, now remember, they have not seen God for 400 years. They have not worshipped God for 400 years. There was no priest in the land, so there was no worship in the land. All there was is working and eating and living down there, but there was the people of God, but it wasn't exposed to God. Also, so what did God do? He introduced himself to them again. So they come out of Egypt. First thing, he showed them all the plagues down there. Turn the water into blood, crickets and flies, and all that stuff down there. They saw that. Then he brings them out, and he divides the water for the Red Sea, right? And this is God showing them, but in 400 years, introducing himself to them how powerful he is. Divide the Red Sea. And they go across the Red Sea. And then they wanted some meat and bread first. Bread. Manna came from heaven. Just like snowflakes. It was like snowflakes. Falling down on the ground, and they pick it up and eat it every day. It tasted like a vanilla cookie. It was a wafer. It had a wafer taste to it. You know what people say. And then they wanted meat. And the quail just landed on the land. Here they are, they're walking along there, and God said, okay, I'm going to feed y'all now. And the quail just landed all in front of them. They just stopped and picked them up. It was God introducing himself, how powerful he was. Okay, then they get to, I'm going to preach about that today. Kadesh Barnea. So they get to Kadesh Barnea, they wanted water. You can give them bread, give them meat, they want water. They argue, this time they're mad, they argue with God, say, I want to go back. And so God becomes angry with them, frustrated with them, and he turns them back, right? 400 years. 40 years in the wilderness, going round and round in the wilderness until that generation dies out. He's still showing himself. And so he said here in the scripture, he says in the scripture, said, Mobile, I appoint a place for my people Israel, and will plant them that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the children of Israel, children of wickedness, afflict them any more as before time. Now, this is 2019. All right? Israel has been in the Middle East where they're at now for, I don't know how many years. They never had to move again. But God said, I'm going to bring you out of Egypt to the promised land, what they originally called it the land of milk and honey. He said, you never have to move again. And Israel right now is where God planted them 20,000, 34,000 right there in the Middle East. And it was all, and it was in this little peninsula where he planted them and placed them. So he reminded David how far back he goes with David people. Not only have I found you, when you were running sheep as a teenager, I was way back there. Before y'all get to this land, that's what he said. And so he said this, he said, and since the time that I have commanded judges to be over my people Israel, I have caused thee to rest from all thine enemies. Also, the Lord telleth thee that he will make thee a house. And when days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and will establish his kingdom. And this is what I call it the Davidic covenant, David's covenant, that God's made. God said, I'm doing this. He said, he shall build a house for my name. That's Solomon, David's son, and will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Now, think for a minute, those of you who have been in the Bible for a while. You don't remember Solomon on the wall. Think about that. David fought all the time. He fought the Philistines for years. We're going to read about that later. In fact, the 8th chapter, he's going to be fighting the Philistines. He fought them for years. So finally God gave, but because of that, he's fighting to expand his kingdom and to establish his kingdom. But what he is doing is fighting so that his son Solomon could have rest and build a temple. That's what the purpose of God. He don't even see that yet. He don't even see that yet. That's what he's doing. God's preparing. So God allowed David to fight. Then he said this. He says, this son, I will establish his throne, his kingdom forever. And read again, verse 13. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Well, you can't go into history and run David, Solomon, Rehoboam. You can't run it all the way down to today. You just can't do this. You just can't do it. Because first of all, those kings, you can do it. What God's saying is, I'm going to establish the throne forever. I'm going to establish the throne forever. So Solomon, his son, stayed on the throne. Solomon's son, Rehoboam, served after him. That's 3 generations of David's family, right? But what God done, God looked at him, so what God is doing with Nathan, he looks well in the future and says, forever is Jesus. He tells David right now, David don't understand that, but he tells David right now when David was standing for Nathan to tell David, well, if I'm going to establish the throne forever, then someone will come on this throne they're going to set forever. What do they call it? Jesus had many names, right? Jesus the Messiah, Jesus Christ, Jesus the Messiah. He's the bread of life. But one of the names he had was Son of David. The reason for that was God looked at Jesus he's in the line of David as being the son of David. That's the way he did stuff like that. Just like he called Solomon, God called Solomon his son. He said the son of David. So when people are saying, when people call David the son of David, they was talking about that was prophecy they had read, because David was Jesus was the Messiah. But they call him the son of David. What Jesus understood, meaning he gonna serve on the throne. So at the end of our age, when we go back to heaven, well, when the millennium comes, the Father will reign, going to be Jesus on the throne. And this is the covenant that God is promising David right now. Well, why would God do that? First of all, David doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve it. All right? This is freely, God picks and determines. Okay? I hear people say all the time, favor is not fair. I just pick that kind of words up. But let me tell you something. There are times for God's purpose, he picks and chooses people. For God's purpose. All right? All your sons, he chose Matt Jr. to be the preacher. You know what I'm saying? That's what God does. We don't know why. He has the ability to do it. Quitting, running that, understanding all about technology and cameras and stuff. He chooses people according to of him, not because of what we have to offer. Okay? And you look at your own life and say, how did I get here to this point in time? It's because of what God sees. What God has determined. It's because he's such a God, let me explain this way. God is not present, future, and past. We are. God is in one place, and in one place he's the future and the past. So he talks always in the first person. All right? He always talks, he says, I'll be with you always. I'll be with you always. He's talking about 20, 30 years on that way. I'll be with you always. And so he talks in the present because he's always in the present. We look at the past and look at the future. God is always in the present. So what I'm saying to you is that Genoa and Joseph, he's already has a plan for you. And you may not accept it. You may not accept it, but he already has a plan and purpose. And you sit right in this. There's a reason why you're sitting in Sunday school and Bible study right now. Okay? God got a plan for you. Okay? Now it's up to the Rivera parents to nurture him, nurture Joseph. But when you get to, if you live to be whatever age you be, God might remind you. So I remember, like he said to David, I remembered you when you were in the sheep. Joseph, I remembered you when you were sitting on the third seat of Second Chapel at 12, 13 years old. That's how much God sees. All right. Your dad probably, if you had asked him, how long you been doing, you been married? Huh? 20 years. If you asked him 25 years ago, he wouldn't told you, I'll be in God at Second Chapel, being a deacon. He wouldn't have told you that. He had no idea what that's going to be. Okay? Well, God just went to live his life, and he served at one of the critical times of this church. You see, out of all the sons that came to this church, Brother Rivera served at a time, a very critical time. Have served at a very critical time and still serve. What I'm saying is that God, and he'll bless him. You know, Shannon's that's all right there. He's going to bless you, but there are times when God's plan goes first. All right? His purpose goes first. And so David seemed to have been blessed more than his brothers. Okay? But in reality, David cared about the things of God. It's just part of who he was. His brother went to the military. They was in the army. 3 of them was in the army. When Dad sent David, Jesse sent David to check on his brother, they were already in the army. All right? They heard Goliath come out and says, "Give me somebody to fight me. If you beat me, we'll serve you. If you beat me, we'll serve you." He's out of 5 the army of God, and he just fussed at them, and they were afraid. All right, everybody ran back. For 40 days, he come out, right? Fussing at them. David come up. Now his brothers had heard that for all the time. They were in the military. He comes up. Goliath. He comes out from the military and make this big plan and try to get somebody fighting one person fighting man to man instead of the whole army. His 3 brothers heard that, and then the same about David comes out on one time. Check on his brothers. And while he's there talking to his brothers, he can go live. Sending one man out here to fight me. Sending one man out here to fight me. I can fight the army. And David sitting here talking to his brothers. He said, "What? Did you hear that guy?" He said, "Yeah. He been doing that. He been doing that for days. Man, he been coming out here for days doing that." He said, "Who was this guy? What would happen to him who he defied the arm of God?" They said, "David, if no one has volunteered to go and fight him, you just want to fight him, give you some money. The King Saul give you some money, give you his daughter in marriage, and you want to pay taxes." David said, "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine who defied the armies of God?" Automatically. And remember, listen to me. David's brothers heard him for days. Because I think they said for 40 days he'd been out. Made the same threat and done nothing about it. David come out one time and hear it, automatically it's in his mind. He talking about the armies of God. I'm not going to stand for that. You know, he didn't have to wait 40 days. And then what he does, they sent him to King Saul, and he tells, and King Saul says, "Here, put this armor on." They said, "I don't need this armor. I'm fighting." And when David rushed, and when Goliath comes out, they come in the valley, and David comes there, and David get his sword, get his slingshot, 5 little rocks. All right? And when he rushed him, he rushes Goliath. Goliath come on that nose, got armor, he's full of armor, got an armor bearer carrying a sword. And David says to him that you come with me with swords. I come to you in the name of the Lord. And he rushed him. Hit him in the head, no story. Fell down, cut his head off. Killed Goliath. What I'm saying is that God uses people for his glory. and it begins a long time before